Why don't we stood here or here? Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about diagnostics. The reason we're going to talk about diagnostics is it's something nobody really likes paying for. I don't know if that's because they don't understand it, they think it's a bit of a myth. So we're going to go through diagnostics. I'm going to take you through what we do with a diagnostics machine, how we use it, how much it costs, why we charge to use it. So hopefully it'll educate everybody. We charge a diagnostics fee and we also charge an investigation fee. The reason being is some diagnostics are straightforward, some aren't so straightforward, and as you can imagine on Mercedes, with all the wiring they have, all the complicated technology they have, it's not always that simple. People have got this thing that you plug a car in the diagnostics machine, the diagnostic tells you what's wrong with the car, you fit that part and that's it. That couldn't be more wrong, and everybody needs to get that out of the minds. It's not correct. Sometimes if it's a simple-ish fault and you're familiar with it, it might be correct. Chances are you need to get in there, you need to test it, and you need to confirm that that is the component that's failed. So what we're going to do in this video is do diagnostics on different cars. I'm going to show you the different ways of testing. Some will be more difficult diagnoses, some will be simple diagnoses. Hopefully it'll just educate everybody on what's involved and why you have to pay for your diagnostics. Customers come in sometimes and say, oh, well, I don't want to pay a diagnostics fee. Can you not just look at it? I can look at that car all day. It's not going to fix itself. We have to get involved. First car we've got in, Mercedes GLC. Now this car has been around a couple of different garages and they've not come up with any results. That's not having a go at anyone. That happens. These cars are complicated. Symptoms are the car's running and driving without issue. As soon as the ignition's turned on or the car's running, the main engine fan kicks in and it's just running all the time. We've got no error messages on the dash, no lights flashing, nothing to indicate a fault. It's more of a customer complaint. Got the car running, can confirm customer is 100% correct. Car's running, no error messages on the dash, and the fan is running all the time. First thing we've got to do is put the machine on. Some people even say, can you not look at it without putting the machine on? And it's just vital information. We can't do anything without it. And some people want a diagnosis with no investigation. That if you want to pay me a diagnostics fee, I'll just plug the car in, print the codes off and hand you a sheet of paper. And then people say, well, what's wrong with it? And I'm like, I don't know, because you won't let me investigate. But it is a constant battle that every garage will have. Nobody wants to pay the diagnostics. So first thing we're going to do, get it on the machine, do a full quick test. And as the video goes on, I am going to go through how much the machine is. We're a Mercedes specialist and we have the genuine Mercedes diagnostic machine. My machine doesn't do anything else apart from Mercedes, and we actually lease this from them, so we basically rent it. To buy it is about £20,000. We rent it. The reason we rent it is every time a new machine comes out we get the latest one, whereas if we bought it after, I don't know, 3 to 5 years, it would become obsolete and it would be useless basically. Other garages generally will buy a machine that will do the majority of makes and models. Everyday garages will probably have 2 or 3 different machines, because the generic machines, they cover all makes and models, but that machine will do functions that machine won't. So I feel sorry for the everyday garage, because they've got to have quite a lot of machines, they've got to keep them updated all the time. So we've now done a quick test. I'm going to go through a couple of different modules and see if there's anything standing out that can cause this problem. In the front SAM control unit, we've got the starter battery has excessive resistance, so I'm guessing the stop-start system doesn't work, but that isn't the customer's complaint. Nothing really relating. Air conditioning, the refrigerant pressure sensor has short circuit. That could cause an issue. In fact, it probably is that, because I know that's a common fault, but I'm still going to do the same test. So there is a good chance in this case, we plugged it in, that we've got an aircon pressure switch fault. You could just go ahead and fit one, or we can do some tests. So we are going to do some tests. So I'm now in the actual values for air conditioning, and we can see here the pressure sensor is reading 0 bar. Now what we're going to do to confirm whether the sensor's faulty or not, we're going to put the air conditioning machine on, which will give us a mechanical reading, and go from there. Right, so we're now all set up on the aircon machine. It's not actually plugged in, but we don't need to plug it in for a mechanical reading. 0 bar on the diagnostics, that's what the car thinks. Mechanical reading is, we're at about just under 5 bar. So we should be registering 5 bar on the diagnostics, and we're not. We are looking like a pressure sensor issue. Next thing, get it on the ramp, get the under trays off, inspect the wiring, go into the sensor. If all that checks out good, we are looking like a pressure sensor. Right, so we've got all the under trays off. We can now expose the sensor, which is here. I'm not sure if you can see that very well. Wiring looks good. We're going to unplug it, make sure there's no corrosion in there. I have seen that before. Not only is the sensor damaged, the plug can be damaged. No, it's nice and dry. We are looking like we need a sensor, so that's nice and simple. In order to replace the sensor, we have to recover all the gas out the air conditioning system. Otherwise we'll take the sensor off and the gas is going to disappear all around the garage, and we need to measure how much has come out. I need to see what the total capacity is and what come out. I'm going to do the customer a favour and charge them the difference. Now some places would charge a full regas fee regardless of how much gas is in there, but it's quite a new car. I'm not expecting it to lose that much. I say the new cars, they're just not new, are they? 18 plates, so it's 7 years old. So there's plenty of investigation time left, which is good. In this case, they're only going to have to pay for the air conditioning switch and an aircon regas. The price we've given them to just look at the car, in this instance, I can incorporate that in the actual repair. I don't think that's too bad. Said I'd go through prices a bit. To plug a car in the diagnostics machine, we charge £60. That is to retrieve the codes. That is it. Nothing more, nothing less. And then my labour is to pay me, the investigation, to operate all these things. It's like renting a digger to dig out your garden with no digger driver. So the £60 is for the digger and the investigation is for the driver, me. Let's speak to the customer and get this one finished up. Right, we have authorisation for the everything. Right, the regas is all done. The car's obviously not running, but we've got 5 bar on the gauges, as you can see, and now we've got 5 bar on the diagnostics. So that is now confirmation the sensor fixed the problem. We've just got to do a few more tests, put the under trays back on, stuff like that, and that is this one done, ready to return to the customer. Right, so that is the GLC done. In this instance, I was able to not only diagnose the problem, I was able to fit the part that was causing the problem within the investigation time, which is always good news. It's good news for me because it was nice and simple. It's good news for the customer because they're not going to incur any more charges. So the initial consultation, I'll call it, over the phone is, I've got this complaint. Yep, it'll be a diagnosis fee and labour investigation of 1 hour. Diagnosis, 1 hour's investigation is £186. Like I say, in this instance, the diagnosis was pretty straightforward. We got our results within 20 minutes, half an hour, and was able to fit the component all within that 1 hour, so that's great. So all we had to do is get authorization for the part, which goes on top of the bill, and I've charged a little bit of money to just top up the air conditioning, even though I have done a full air conditioning cycle. Might have done myself out of a bit of money there because it has been in the garage for 2.5 hours nearly. Anyway, so the total bill is $252. Not too bad, I don't think. I think that's a good result. We'll move on to some other diagnostics. As for the GLC, all done, quite happy with it. Hopefully the customers too. Another day, another diagnostics job. Thought this one would be nice and simple, but it's not, hence the reason I'm showing you. We've got a turn signal fault on the dashboard. Nice and simple, you'd think. The phone's now going off. It's hard this filming, guys. Anyway, we had a turn signal right hand fault. C-class 204. The indicator lens in the mirror housing was only half illuminating. It's all cracked and split. We naturally thought that that's the problem, which with it only half illuminating would generally be that. Anyway, we fitted a new lens. The fault remained on the dash. So out came the diagnostics. We looked further into it. As you know, we charge a diagnostics and investigation fee. I'm sure you're getting the gist of that by now. So we'll take you around to the front of the car, show you what we've had to do to diagnose this vehicle. But such a simple light on the dash, and it isn't necessarily a simple fix. So as you can see, we've got the full front bumper off. Doing some testing, it was indicating something wrong with the right hand headlamp. Now the reason the bumpers had to come off is these headlamps have two control units. I was suspecting a fault with one of them. The most efficient, accurate way is to take the front bumper off, remove both headlamps, and swap what you think is the faulty control unit from one side to the other. If the fault switches from your right hand to your left hand, which in this case it has, that's how you know that you've got the right module. Oh, just to make this job even harder, even though we've got an error message on the dash, all the indicators are flashing and working perfectly. We've just got that error message. We have got the fault now on the left-hand side because we've transferred the control units. So I'll show you. This control unit isn't accessible with the bumper on and the headlights in. Here's your two control units. That is your control unit that powers the xenon headlight. This is just the general headlamp control unit. So this is actually off the right hand side, which we've transferred to the passenger to make sure the fault has transferred, which it has. So that then indicates that we need a new one of those. So next question is, how much is one of those? A new control unit is £350, and that is going to get the light off the dash, even though it's all illuminating and working. It seems a lot to get such a simple error message off the dash, but it is what it is. It's actually a high peak car, this, which he's already done a video on, which he's already massively overspent on. So I've now got to give him a call and give him the bad news that he's going to have to overspend a bit more.
And we're back in my cheap Mercedes C250, and I'm afraid I've massively overspent. I don't know why I bother sometimes. I really don't.
So we get this one parked up outside. We're going to have to wait for some parts, get them ordered. Classic case of, I've got this light on the dash, it's just going to be a bulb, and in this case it's not. Obviously we thought it was going to be the lens. It would be a lot more satisfying if the headlamp indicator actually didn't work, and then at least you're fixing something, whereas this is just an annoying message, but it needs doing. So just get it parked up, looking a bit sorry for itself outside, and then we'll catch up when the new part arrives. Right, next up we've got a 171 SLK. Put the car into gear and it is just slamming into gear, and it's stuck in second gear. I've covered this on the channel before. I think we all know what this is going to be. Going to put it in gear now. Obviously you can either see that jolt or hear it. It is really bad. Quite a simple test to diagnose this one. Let's have a look, see what's going on. I suspect we've got a fault with the conductor plate inside the gearbox, which we've covered a couple of times on the channel. A couple of things we've got to do. Obviously, I could be wrong for a start. Let's get into it and see. Yeah, so we've got signal from component Y3/8N1, turbine speed sensor not available. That is one of the speed sensors on the conductor plate. There's not much testing you can do with this. I'm going to click test on the diagnostics. As you can see here, if you come round to the screen, all we get is process all fault codes, component, speed sensor is defective, and that is it. Use same diagnostic equipment after the repair measure. So basically, if I continue any further with this diagnostics process, all that's going to do is retrieve the TCU, transmission control unit, information off. It's going to store it on the diagnostics. It wants me to replace that control unit and then install it back on. So in this case, it's not really an investigation fee involved. There is a few things we need to check out to make sure we can actually change this plate. Some of these early models, you can't just change the plate. You've got to change the whole plate and valve body. So I'm going to come back out of this, print off some information, and basically I'm going to get in the office and do some homework. But that is the end of that. So in this case, for this customer on this car, obviously they've already authorized the diagnostics and investigation. Not really been any investigation, to be honest, apart from plugging it in, looking at the codes. The test process just says replace it, and that's the end of it. In this case, you could say the fault code is telling me what's wrong with the car. However, I do need to go in the office, do some compatibility checks in order to order it, but we'll take you through that process as well.
A few moments later.
Right, so what we have to check now, the EHS number, which is the part number of the valve body, which the plate sits on top of. We have to make sure that we can fit a plate to that body. So we're just checking the parts diagram, which is more software that we use, which we also, in fact, no, we don't pay for the part system. Mercedes give us a part system free. My number is 220-270-1806. And the repair plate is not compatible with 1406, 1206, 1106 and 1006. So that means this car can have a plate fitted. So that is kind of the end of the diagnostics for this car. We actually do this as a set job. So if the customer authorizes the job, I'm going to even scrap the diagnostics fee. It's all incorporated in our set price. If they don't want the job doing, I'm just going to charge them the diagnostics fee because we're telling them what's wrong with the car and what's required to fix it should they go elsewhere and get it done. But there'll be no investigation fee on this one. Nice and simple. So hopefully this video is showing you that sometimes it's simple-ish, sometimes it's not. So let's see what the customer wants to do about this. Once it's fitted, it does take a long time to program it and code it to the vehicle. Once it's programmed and coded, that part will not fit or work with any other vehicle. But we'll leave a link below for these that we've done before because it's quite interesting. But should the job go ahead, it does end up back on the machine for the programming and the SCN coding. Right, next up on the diagnostic video, we have got an E350 V6 diesel, or is it a 320? Either way, 642 engine, same thing. We've got an engine management light. Customers complained of intermittent judder, misfire type symptoms. We've plugged it in. We've got a fault for injector cylinder 4. Couple of options to go on this. At the moment the car's behaving. We've road tested it a couple of times. We can't replicate the fault. Conversation with the customers give me the symptoms of when it happens, which we're unable to replicate. We've got two options with this. If you come over here, we've got, that's the faulty inject, well, this is what we're eliminating. The diagnostics is indicating a fault with this injector, but we can't get it to fail. I've spoke to the customer and give him the option. We can either replace that and just see how it goes, or we can eliminate that risk by removing that injector from cylinder 4, swapping it over to the injector on the opposite side of the engine for cylinder 1, return the car to him, so he's helping us out really, because he's going to go out and test it. When the fault happens again, engine management light comes back on, he's going to come back again, plug the car back in, and then that fault should have transferred from cylinder 4 to cylinder 1. If it has, we can be dead certain that that injector is faulty. If it doesn't and it remains on cylinder 4, then obviously the diagnosis is incorrect. So by doing this test, it's just a really good confirmation that that is what is at fault. Obviously the customer's now paying twice to have the injector removed and refitted, but I did give him the choice of we can just straight swap it for a new one and hopefully that's it, fingers crossed, or we could do this. It's going to cost to swap 2 injectors because one that goes faulty, we've got to do it again, but it will give us a really accurate diagnosis. So he's happy to go with the test, he's happy to take the car back and in theory test it out for us, but he's drove this car to Birmingham before now, before the faults happened. Obviously I can't jump in this car and drive it to Birmingham to try and get it to do it. So yeah, that's what we've got to do with this one. And we've also got to recode the injectors. All the injectors come with a special code on the bottom. So that is currently coded to cylinder 4. So we need to get on the machine and swap the code in for cylinder 1 for cylinder 4 to make sure everything's good. But it's a really good customer, this guy. In fact, he's one of our longest serving customers. He's been coming since pretty much the day we opened 20 years ago, something like that. On and off, he's had multiple different cars, but every time he's had a Merc, he's come to us, and he's happy to spend a bit extra to be more accurate with the diagnosis. So if you ever get a call from your garage to say, you know, they need to do something like this, hopefully that explains what we're doing. We're trying to be as accurate as possible. In some instances we can't do a test like this and we just have to go off the tests we've done and fit the part. But yeah, we'll see what else we've got going on. Right, next one for diagnosis. Probably going to be our last diagnosis because I'm pretty sure by now you're getting the idea. I wanted something really in depth where I could get like a wiring diagram out and stuff like that, but I've just not needed to. So I'm in a GLS, big car, and a couple of faults with this. We are having a overheating issue, which we're going to look at, and we've also got an indicator malfunction issue. It's a brand new car to me. It's not brand new, it's out of its warranty period, but it's a very new car. So yeah, let's get this one in. Like I say, yeah, I was hoping to get some like really in-depth stuff in with like where we go into another program that we pay for called Whiz, which is all our Mercedes workshop information. That's something else that we pay for on top of the diagnostics. Sometimes you need to use it, sometimes you don't. But anyway, let's get this in, see what's going on, and hopefully we can all learn something. So as we can see here, this side indicator's working. Passenger side is working, but that is the emergency one. So when this fails, it resorts to this. Why is it doing that? Is it because we've got a faulty headlamp? Or is it because we've got a faulty control unit? We're not sure. Diagnostics is loading. I said in the car that it had an overheating problem, this car. It's not. It's got some kind of cooling light on the dash, I'll say. And what we've got is, you can't really see, but behind the grille, there's like, the best way I can describe it is like a blind that you'd have at home. So imagine your window, you've got a blind, open, closed. It's like a blind that covers the radiator on this model. I've never seen this technology before, I'll say. And it closes, it must be to get the engine hotter quicker, and then opens to cool it down. Well, we've got a problem with that. It's called the radiator shutter. I've just been doing some tests on it. It's going to be quite hard to demonstrate, but if you look here at this diagram, it sits there behind the bumper. See if you can get the camera in here with the torch on. I'm going to attempt to open it, and you can see it's trying to open and then just closing. So that is not opening, so that's why we're getting that coolant warning sign on the dash. Now obviously there's not much more I can do with that because we've got a bumper in the way. Next problem we've got is the headlamp. As demonstrated before, the top eyebrow, I'll call it, isn't working as an indicator. Is that a problem with the headlamp? We've got one control unit here, if you look there, and there's also another one underneath. Now I'm not sure which control unit controls what on the headlamp. So again, I've got another diagram up on here. So that top control unit is listed as a voltage converter, maybe for the xenon. The one on the bottom is a light range adjustment. So none of them are very descriptive if they're for the LED function of the headlamp or not. We need to take this front bumper off. We need to get the grille off, get the bumper off. Gonna have to disconnect the Partronic system. It's actually got a Distronic system as well. Take the headlamps out. I'm gonna do some investigation. Do any of those control units control the eyebrow or not? Worst case scenario, it could be the headlamp itself. The headlamp is £1,400 plus VAT. It's all very expensive, so we need to be very, very careful. Right, the front bumper's off. We've took the headlamps out, and first thing I'm going to do is replace this bottom control unit, left to right. The description I'm getting when I search this part number is LED control unit. So I'm just going to try that one first. Then we'll move to the one at the top, see if the fault swaps. If it doesn't, last resort is headlamp, and then that's the only way of accurately diagnosing this without guessing, really. As I plugged that headlamp in, this started moving. I literally plugged that in and that moved. So you can see this blind system open, closed, but they should open and close with this. So that's become detached or broken. So we need to take that blind system out. I have a feeling it's going to be a complete thing, but you can see the principle of it now. But anyway, that's another problem.
No.
Right, so that's not worked. Let's try the other module. If that doesn't work, headlamp. If the headlamp doesn't work, we're in big trouble. Right, control unit number 2. Makes me a bit nervous, these headlamps are that expensive. That's why I'm putting a bolt in. I'm just putting one of the screws in at the top so it can't slide out and fall on the floor. Right, control unit number 2. No. Let's swap the whole lamp. So as you can see, we've swapped the entire headlamp now, and the fault has transferred. The eyebrow's now working. So unfortunately, we need the most expensive part, which is the headlamp. £1,400 plus VAT. What? That's a lot of money to fix an indicator not working. It's all good and well, this LED stuff, it looks great, but really you can't beat a bulb for £2. What's that doing? That's that diagnosed. We've got to put it all back together, get a headlamp on order, and we need to take this radiator blind system out and have a look at that. So we've got the radiator blind off, and you can see all these are moving independently, which we showed, but the it like has a dowel that attaches to the motor. It's completely snapped off. So you have to buy a complete new thing. We've got a brand new one. Nathan's fitted the new headlamp, very expensive indicator bulb. Put this new radiator blind on, put the front bumper back on, make sure that there's no coding to be done with this headlamp. Although that's working, we are using the original control unit, so that in theory there shouldn't be any additional coding required. But if there is, we'll show you that. If there isn't, ignore me. Radiator shutter code has now gone to stored, so that's good because it was current no matter what before. Let's do the tests on that again to make sure it's working. You can't do it with the engine running. So now you can see how it works. Open, closed. So it's just good to test and confirm that's working before you put the bumper back on. It's just doing the same cycle again. Right, that is the GLS all done. Bumper's been refitted, everything's working. As you can probably hear, parking sensors are working, 360 cameras working, no lights on the dash, indicators working as it should. So that concludes the Diagnostics video. Hopefully I've kind of got the point across of what you're paying for when you go to a garage for diagnostics. You're either going to pay for codes to be printed out, or you're going to pay for investigation to find out exactly what's going on. Hopefully it's not come across too much of a moan, because it's definitely not. It's just trying to educate people that don't understand quite what it is, and people that do know what it is, you've probably found it interesting. Indicator fault on this and the little coolant symbol. Total bill has come to £2,220 to fix those two things. This car is actually in for a little bit more than that, but non-diagnostic related. So those two jobs, £2,200. That is a lot of money to repair an indicator not working in a headlamp. Things like this make me more and more want to have an older vehicle that I can just take a bulb out, put a new bulb in, and I'm back in business. Or worst case, replace a control unit like we did. If you go back a little bit on the video, the C-Class needed a control unit to fix the indicator. Even that is a bit of a nightmare, to be honest, to get that warning message off the dash. But you can see where technology is going and why cars are harder and harder to fix, why they're so expensive to fix. It's just not great. So seeing as though this is a diagnostics video, I thought I would go through the costs of how much my diagnostic machine costs me. I think I mentioned it. Yeah, that car alarm going off. Line this window up. I think I mentioned it early in the video that we lease our diagnostics equipment from Mercedes. So we pay a monthly fee for the equipment, and for some of the software we pay annually. Not only do we have the diagnostics machine, we then have the software to operate it, which is on top. It's an additional charge. We also have a software which is called Whiz, which is Mercedes Workshop Information System. We pay an extra fee for that. There's another piece of software called Tips, which is Mercedes Technical Bulletins. There's another piece of software called Mercedes Operations Times, which we pay extra for. That alarm's going off again. Operations Times is a piece of software that allows us see how long components on vehicles take to replace, so we can try and be as accurate as possible with the quotations. In some, if not a lot of instances though, they are quite inaccurate, so I'm not sure where they get those times from. But anyway, they're all the things that we pay for individually. But to operate the diagnostics correctly, there's a plane going over now.
It's picking up on the mic.
Come fly with me, let's fly away. To operate the diagnostics machine to its best abilities, we do need all of those things, because they all work hand in hand with one another. So sometimes we might be diagnosing a car and it'll say refer to this tips document, so we need to go and have a read of it. What is it trying to tell us? Sometimes it'll say refer to this Whiz document. We didn't really get any jobs that are needed to get the Whiz information out for on this video, which I was hoping to, because that gives us all wiring diagrams. In fact, I probably did, but I'm just that in tune with what I'm doing, I probably didn't even think, because it's all on the same tablet. But it gives us fuse charts, relay charts, wiring diagrams, how to remove something. To say, if you're not sure how to remove this bumper, you can get it up and it'll tell you where the bolts and screws are. We also have Mercedes web parts, which we show on the channel. It gives us a parts diagram, how much things are, which is actually free. So thank you, Mercedes, for that free piece of software. Quick rundown in costs of what the machine costs. Now, this is just my Mercedes machine. I'm not talking for other garages here. Diagnostics machine hardware with the software to operate it combined is £500 per month. The tips document software, I think it's changed now, but last year it was £300. I'm just rounding these figures up for a year, so that's not too bad at all. Tips is well worth having for £300. I think it's cheaper now. Wiz last year was £1,300 for the year, and operations times was 750. Quick maths tells me I'm paying roughly around £600 a month to have that machine. That's why we've got to charge for it. Hopefully you've all learned something. If you want to see more videos like this, let us know in the comments. Make sure you like and subscribe and hit the notification bell button so you get notified of new videos we're posting. I'll leave a link in the description below for our merchandise. If you haven't got any merchandise already, make sure you go and buy some, because that really helps us out with the channel. We reinvest that money back in the channel. If you already have purchased some, thank you very much. And yeah, we'll see you on the next one.